Hey, everyone. I'm your host, James Jackson, and this is ARCast. Join me each episode as we shine the spotlight on a category management or shopper insights professional doing compelling work in the trenches. If you're ready, let's dive right in. So excited. I'm here with Amelia Taus, who's VP of Revenue Strategy Management and Planning at Talking Rain. Amelia, it's been so long. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, James.
Yeah, so if you listen in the past, we obviously go through your career journey, but I do like to kind of change things up. So I have a question for you before we get started. All
Go
right.
ahead.
So what is Ikigai?
Ikigai is something that you love to do. You get paid for it, and you give something back, whether it's to community and to the world. And it's something that like really be the center of everything. So whether it's a job or something that you do for a nonprofit, it's something that you love to do. So I felt like it's really good, a balance between doing what you love, but also you get paid for it. So it's fun to
Awesome.
do.
Awesome. I saw that in one of your decks. So that's
Oh
why I had
yeah.
to ask from a conference last year. So awesome. Awesome. Well, that's a great way to start. I like to get people's blood flowing, have them thinking. And so I thought that might be an interesting one for you. But we're ready to get started. So if you're ready, let's get in the trenches. Let's get in the trenches. So you have an expanded role. It touches a lot of different areas, including category management. But what is it about Catman that has kept you interested over the past, and now you're like 20 years in?
Yeah. Um, I love doing a category management work because it leverages my passion, leveraging data, but also at the same time, you got to be creative to translate that data into insights, and you get to present to whether it's internal key stakeholders, but also external, be it your distributor partners, your sales team, and also retailers. So it's a combination of something that I love to do all in
Sure.
one.
Nice. So what was your first job in category management?
Oh, my official job in category management is actually at PepsiCo. I
Okay.
was hired as a category analyst in the C-store business. But my exposure to category management was actually when I was doing a business development role back
Mm,
at 3M, Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing Company. It was a
okay.
BDM role, but that is my first exposure to a category management function.
Okay. So let's go back. I actually have a couple questions for you because obviously I do my research. And so you have a degree in chemical engineering. So I'm
That's right.
trying to understand, how did you go from chemical engineering to what you said, a business development role, and then ultimately into category management?
Yeah, sure. So a little bit of my background here. Undergrad chemical engineering at University of Minnesota. That's not where I originally came from. I grew up in Indonesia until I finished high school. Then I went to study in the US with a degree in chemical engineering. It will be a story for another day how I ended up in chemical engineering, but it's all related to data optimization, right? So had a degree. I actually decided to go back to Indonesia
Mm,
and work for 3M
okay.
in the subsidiary in Indonesia. My first role is actually technical service engineer. Didn't really use my chemical engineering background, but it's an engineering role
Sure.
for traffic control materials and commercial graphics division. And 6 months into my role, the marketer actually resigned. So I pitch in, I raise my hand. Hey, I know how to do a marketing job because I have an engineering degree, but with minor in business. So I
Mm,
got the role. So I
got it.
get to switch to a marketing or a business type of role, still the same product, right? Then I switched to a business development role for the office product. So that's how my
Okay.
exposure to business and consumer product group started. For that role, I get exposure to a category management. It's in infancy at that time,
Okay.
but I get to work on consumer product, post-it notes, diskette, overhead
Oh
projectors,
yeah.
right? Something that everybody knows. So that's the fun and the love I have for a consumer product, is because I think it's fun to
Sure.
be able to tell people what you do and the product that you present.
Sure, sure. So it's interesting. You came here for your education, and then you
Mhm.
went back home. And I'm wondering, how was it back home when you went back?
Well, it was great because, again, I was able to work for a US based company.
Yeah.
I did get to go back to Minnesota for business meeting or whatnot, but something happened after I was working there for about 3 years. There was
Hmm.
a riot happening. There is a money devaluation. It's basically chaos. I actually have to flee the country and eventually move to Singapore,
Oh my
and
gosh.
so I had to restart my career. Yeah, my 3 years, saving from, working only lasted me for about 5 months living expenses when I moved to Singapore. So I pretty much have to do a reset button, and
Hmm.
was able to find a role within 3M in the Singapore subsidiary. And funny to say, that was probably my closest role to leveraging my undergrad degree, because I had a marketing role,
Sure.
but it was for a fluoropolymer and fluorochemical industry. So I
Oh
get to use my
gosh. Yeah.
chemical engineering to speak anything chemical all day.
Oh wow. I have to ask this question. So you said you fled your country, right?
Yeah.
What can you talk about that? Like, how did you? Was it scary? You know, what were you thinking?
Yeah, so I was working in Jakarta, which is the capital city of Indonesia. And I mean, honestly, I'm a bit like a minority back in my home country. So at that time, the
Mm,
riot happening where there is a lot of gas station being burned, there
wow.
is stone thrown at people, and I just don't feel safe. So I
Hmm.
was able to tag along my brother, who worked for a multinational company at that time, and they actually chartered a private plane to flee immediate employee as well as extended family member out of the country for about 2 weeks.
Wow. Wow. So you ended up in Singapore. You're doing work. How did you end up back in the U.S.?
So I mentioned that I was very intrigued and really enjoy my role in
Yeah.
consumer product group, and at that time was office product. So I knew right then I love the business aspect as opposed to engineering 100%. And I went back for graduate school. So I went for my MBA at University of Maryland.
And so you got your MBA, and how did that then get you to your spot at Pepsi?
Yeah, so within the MBA program, it was a 2 year program.
Mm,
After the first year, they have a summer internship. So I applied, interview for it, and got an internship with PepsiCo.
got
And
it.
at the end of the internship, then I get a full time role. I must mention, though, my internship was not in category management. My internship was in a different type of role, but
Okay.
knowing that I had that business development with a category
Got it.
management background, they did offer me a category analyst role for a
Okay.
convenience store. So that was my first role, official role in category management at PepsiCo.
Nice, nice. So, okay, so you get into category management, you're
Yeah.
going through, and we always talk about on the show that, there's no straight line. People stumble into it. And I mentioned your deck before and your presentation. I found something else. So, and I'm going to read it. So you mentioned that not all career paths are straight.
Mhm.
And so can you list some of the key roles that you've had, or taken over your career that got to you to where you are today?
Yeah, absolutely. So, even within category management,
Hmm.
right? So, if you're stick in category management, there's even different type of category management.
Sure.
So, I had the opportunity to do different channel,
Mm,
from C store to a grocery channel
sure.
to a dollar channel. I did headquarter role. I had field roles as well as a capability tool and enablement role. So that will be different, right? So that's within category management. I did space management within the category
Oh, I didn't know
management.
that. Okay.
Right, right. Oh, I write planogram and on site at my retailer, and you got to work with, either Apollo or JDA, now Blue
Yeah.
Yonder. You got to understand because oftentimes some of the role might not be as sexy or strategic, but
Hmm.
right, but it gives you a very strong foundational knowledge that if your product are not in the assortment, are not on the shelf, then you're not going to be able to sell the product if the consumer or the shopper cannot find your product on the shelf. So
Right.
space management is very important. Then even within category management, you if you had the chance to like I was so blessed that I was able to take on a role that is actually calling on Kroger,
Mm.
because within that Kroger role, I had the exposure to work on dunnhumby, or now 8451
Sure.
stratum data that really understand shopper behavior down to the store level if you need
Mm.
to, but it's very robust, right? With how many, I don't know, I think it's 65 million household data in that platform. So that's within category management in itself, could be different type of role, but
Sure.
then instead of being in a team, I had the opportunity to actually create a category management
Yeah.
team once I pivoted from PepsiCo. Then I also, in other than the PepsiCo, I make an strategic decision in terms of the type of company that I'm interested to work for, right? Working for a large public multinational
Yeah.
company would be would have a different pros and cons versus working for a medium, small, privately owned company,
Yeah.
right? From resources and tools that you have, whether it's funding to access data, as well as how do you want to structure your team.
Hmm.
So, and from that, I pivot into having exposure to do an e-commerce insights
Okay. Yeah.
within the role, as well as working very closely and partner pretty much joined by the hip with strategy, sales planning, and revenue growth management. So I think having a strong foundational background in category management, because we deal all day with
Yeah.
data, different type of analysis that allow me to pivot my career,
Sure.
because some of the skills that are transferable into a revenue growth management and strategy type of role.
Sure. Sure. Awesome. And you're highlighting how kind of not that straight line, but how it actually enriched your career, gave you more tools in the toolkit, so that when you did get to the position you're at now or a higher level position, you could kind of pull those things out as necessary in order to address whatever might be on your plate at the time. So that's super
Yeah.
interesting. Now you did talk about something, and I want to go back to it. And so people go through change, right? They change
Mhm.
jobs. You've worked for different companies, had different roles for whatever reason. I'm trying to understand, like, what is your calculus for when you choose, hey,
Uh-huh.
this is a good opportunity, or I need to move, or I need exposure to something different?
Yeah. When I'm ready for my next challenge
Hmm.
or my next role, whether it's in the same company or a different role within the same company, I always look at it from the perspective of, will I still be able to learn something new in my
Mm.
role, right? Also, it's very important, as much as you interview for the job so that you can get the job, you also interview the people who you will work with and work for. So
Got
I
it.
always take a look at the team, the culture, but also who you will be reporting into. Can I still continue to learn and expand my knowledge in my next role? Will I be able to expand, even maybe if it's the same role in the
Sure.
same company, but maybe a different account? So you switch from a dollar channel to a mass channel
Hmm.
to a national account versus a regional account. you will be able to learn something new because the challenges and the opportunity varies for those type of roles.
So I have to ask you this because it's burning in my mind. So
Yeah.
you talk about change and going from channel to channel, but you also went from Pepsi to water to seafood, and I'm trying to understand,
And to wine.
and
Yeah.
then and wine, and so I get the beverage, okay, but seafood is kind of
Yeah.
like, I guess. So what was the idea there?
For there is more like a personal choice, to be honest
Okay.
with you. It's more about, so again, it's mostly beverages, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
alcoholic or non-alcoholic. And at that time, it was my personal choice because I decided that in order for me to be able to stay in the Pacific Northwest, because at that time I was working for Essentia that got acquired by Nestle company,
Yes.
Nestle USA.
Okay.
Eventually you're going to have to move to Arlington, Virginia, right? And we love it so much here in the Pacific
Uh,
Northwest. So it was more like a personal choice that, hey, I don't want to move outside of Pacific Northwest. And there was a great role that they need someone to lead their category management, revenue growth management, and it's local in the Seattle area. And I felt like, and again, a role that I will choose, I also want to make sure that I can contribute. So I have so
yeah.
much background with domestic, retail facing type of category management roles. So I felt like I can contribute, and they also need someone to run that department. So that's how we ended up in the seafood. Hey, but I love it. I get to learn what are the different species
Yeah.
of salmon, what are the different species of crab, for example. And then that's what I love. It's like any role that you move into, you
Yeah.
need to make the best out of it. What can you still learn
Yes.
more, right? So
Yes.
that's
Yes.
how I ended up in seafood. But I felt like what's good for me is beverages. So that's why I'm back with beverages right now.
Got it. Got it. Like I said, it just, as I've been around seafood, that's a challenging industry. And so
It
I was like,
is.
wow, where did this come from? But now I understand. So I do want to also ask you a question, and you mentioned it about building teams.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to understand, or if we can learn more about, how you actually build teams. What's the process that you use? And maybe even, I go from Pepsi, like you said, that's a huge company. It's got everything you could ever want, all the people you could ever want. And you jump into this role where you've literally got to start from scratch. So can you talk about that experience and how you approached it?
Yeah. First, you need to do an assessment before you make a decision how you want to build your team, right? First of all, you need to assess what kind of resources is available,
Hmm.
be it data, tool, or human capital, right? What do you have to work with? Then you need to understand the category, the competition that you are going to be entering into. Is it a highly competitive category
Sure.
that there is other competition that will always you have to be on the lookout for? And where are you in terms of share? Are you the
Sure.
share leader? Are you a fast follower, or you are a new entry in the market? So that would help like determine like how do you need to invest in your data sources.
Okay.
Okay. Then you need to have an assessment even in terms of the capability and skill set, because coming in that you need to build this new department,
Hmm.
there is a couple of things. You would love to promote from within when you can, but you need to assess, do you have the people with the right skill set to be able to fill that role?
Got it.
So as much as you can, yes, you want to promote from within and maybe repurpose people who previously come from finance or sales that actually have the drive with analytically and curious and like to do the type of category management role. Absolutely. But if your assessment, there is no one that not only have that capability and skill set, but also maybe not willing to move to a category
Yeah.
management, then you're going to have to outsource for external coming in. You also need to understand, I would say, again, the type of product and the category that you play in. Is it more about playing offense or playing defense? Depending on that, the type of team that you want to recruit would be different, right? If you just do more like you're the cheerleader, it's more like a maintenance, there's not a lot of competition, then it might be okay to have a little bit of a manager, maybe an analyst level. But if you're really playing a defense and there's a lot of competition, then you
Sure.
might need to hire someone who's more strategic and really be able to quickly look at the data and make a recommendation, as opposed to you have to be the one who make the recommendation all the
Sure.
time, right? So it really depends on that. um, Another one would be, what is the support that you get from tools and enablement?
Mm.
If you have the reporting capability that is already ready to go and
Sure.
great, right? Then you might not need to have a big team.
Mm.
But if the company do not want to invest in tools and technology, you're going to have to work with what you have, most likely probably
Sure.
Excel, and do
Sure.
everything manually. Then you
Sure.
might need to hire more people in your team.
Got it. Got it. Fascinating. And you're doing all that, while learning a new organization. I think that happened a couple times. So you're also
Yep.
navigating, trying to influence, getting people to sign up for what you're approaching or what your approach is. So really, really interesting. I'm going to kind of move forward a little bit and ask you this. So you've been around, we talked about, for over 2 decades in category management. What's changed over time?
I would say capability. I've
Okay.
seen a lot of improvement in capability in category management with image recognition.
Okay.
So doing a store
Yeah.
audit to understand what is in store. It's amazing. It's fast. AI to enable some of the probably optimization that has changed. So definitely, it's good. It's
Yeah.
better. Um, you can do things faster, so
Hmm.
better efficiency for sure. Um, on the other spectrum that I see, and I know you just come out of the mix and mingle in
Yeah.
Cincinnati,
Yeah.
what I want to definitely bring up is that omni category management. I think
Yes.
that is something that it's up for better collaboration between online offline. At the end of the day, the shopper who buy your product is the same shopper.
Yes.
It's just better the type of fulfillment. Is it online? Is it offline? What
Yes.
channel? Right. So, how can you bring everything together into an omni category
Yeah.
management? Would be, I think, still an opportunity that I can
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
still have yet to be developed.
Yeah. Actually, we learned a lot. We learned a lot over a day and a half, and we actually went to 4 different stores to see the brick and mortar side of things, and then went online, and saw how they work together, where they didn't, where there's opportunities. So I love that. Kind of going off of that, where do you see category management going? What does the future look like for you?
I would say continue to be the I would say the glue
Okay.
that have all the interaction. Because how I see category management, I would say that it's even more and more important, right? Because we deal every day with 4 P's and 3 C's:
Yeah.
price, product, promotion, placement, category, competition, customer, or consumer. And we touch all that. What I see, and I would love to see this, and that's I have exposure because now I lead the revenue growth management, right?
Yeah.
What we're doing with revenue growth management is pretty much a category management for internal, right?
Mm.
But we deal a lot with financials. So we
Yes.
understand we have visibility to cost of goods, to the trade. So when we try to complete an analysis about promotion, then it become more holistic and comprehensive, as
Mm.
opposed to looking at what is the sales lift, are we gaining share, who is the shopper that we attract with this type of promotion, is the retailer gaining share of the market, but it's
Sure.
more about, is it financially sound for us internally as a brand
Sure.
owner, for our distributor network, as well as for the retailer. So that's, I think, like the category management probably will evolve more to be like more holistic,
Okay.
given the different data points
Yeah.
that will be shared with the category management team. Now, I'm talking more from the CPG brand perspective, because
Sure.
when you're talking about category management on the other side, when you work for a merchant,
Yes.
they already
They're
doing that.
already doing it. Yeah.
They are doing that. But this is more, I'm talking from like the usually the traditional category management on the CPG. That's the piece that I think that could be blurring between RGM category management, is the type of data that you get exposure to.
No, I love that. And I actually love what you said about the glue. We had a lot of comments about that this week in Cincinnati, of either we're the hub, we're the glue, we're the only one that knows all sides of the equation. So it's good to hear that it keeps coming up, and in some way it's like, okay, we're in the right spot, right? We're in
Yeah.
a place where we're actually wanted and needed. So last question for you. Again, I'm going to take this from your breakout deck, but you had this quote, and it says, "When you stop learning, you start dying." And you've mentioned learning a couple of times now, right? So,
Yeah.
what are you currently learning, or what are you seeking to learn in your role?
I would love to learn more. This is my wish list, may
Yeah,
not be what I'm doing right now, but I would love to definitely learn more how to leverage AI in my role better.
sure.
I use some of them, Microsoft Copilot,
Yeah,
ChatGPT, whatever, right? But uh, how can we enable ourselves with the technology that is readily
sure.
available for us to make our job a little bit easier? I don't think we can be replaced with all of this AI, because you need to still have those knowledge about the decision making, right?
Yeah,
As opposed to 100% solely reliant on the AI. But I think that's my personal passion of mine, is really doing that, as well as definitely continue to learn more about the e-commerce and the omni,
yeah,
because in my current role I have not really get involved too much with the e-commerce,
sure,
but I did have that experience before. So that would be, I think, area that I would love to continue to learn more
sure.
in that role.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I would ditto that. The AI
Yeah.
piece for sure, as well as the omni channel, specifically the e-commerce. I have to go back. We've had a bunch of things with Chris Perry and First Mover, and
Hmm.
some of the videos he has, the training, and so on. So I need to catch up, and there's more to come on that because we know how important it
Awesome.
is. So yeah. So hey, this has been great to get through this section and learn a lot about you. Appreciate all the insights. I'm gonna take a minute and let you kind of take a breath, and let's come up for air. Finally, coming up for air. If you want, I'll just talk a little bit, or ask you a little bit about family, personal life, just so people get to know you better. So if you can share a little bit about you.
Well, I have two kids
Okay.
and a husband.
Yeah.
We live in a greater Seattle area in the
Okay.
Pacific Northwest. We love it here. We've been here for almost 10 years, and we love to explore new places, go on road trips, and we are foodies, so we like to try
Oh,
new
okay.
foods all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. So, can you share a little bit more about you? So, from Indonesia
Yeah.
and Jakarta, correct?
My hometown is actually Bandung, which is the capital of West Java province.
Okay.
So it's about 2.5 hours drive from Jakarta.
Do you get back at all?
I usually try to go back every couple of years.
Okay.
My family is still all there. My
Okay.
direct family, my brother, my sister, my mom. Uh, it's a little bit of, I try to balance between vacationing here locally versus visiting. Because
Sure.
when I go for a visit, I'm going to have to take 3 weeks. Because
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious. I want you to guess, how long do you think the flight ride to go from the US to Indonesia?
Oh,
Take a
God.
guess.
21 hours.
That's pretty close. Yes. On the air. On the air. So
Wow.
this is fun fact. I rarely do that right now because I really value if I can sleep. But I used to when younger, I will catch up with like 7 movies when I
Oh my
fly
God.
over there and 7 movies coming back. That's how I catch up with my movies. But
That
then of
is,
course you get jet lag,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Oh my God. No, well, I guess pretty good. All right.
Yeah.
Last question for our episode today. And so you said something before and I thought it was great. This is outside of the episode, but you said, the art of data, crafting a career that tells your story. That was the title you had. What's your story? If you had to kind of encapsulate what you've done, what would you say if somebody asked you?
I would say I've always stayed true to my passion with data as well as connecting with people to really find the role that drives you every day. And I was able to basically find those blend of data, storytelling, connecting with people in all
Yeah.
the career that I had.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well, Amelia, from all of us at the CMA, you've been a huge contributor, so we really appreciate all that you've done. I know you're doing expert videos and you've done, talks at annual conference, and they've all been great. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So you've just listened to another amazing episode of ARCast. Please look forward to more interesting people like Amelia in the weeks to come. And also, please don't forget to share ARCast with your fellow colleagues. For feedback, topic suggestions, or if you want to be like Amelia and appear on the show, please go to www.catman.global/ARCast. Just need to go down to the bottom of the screen. There's a submission form there. Fill it out. It comes directly to me, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Today's episode was produced by Zach Peterson and edited by Herman Mogos. And it was recorded at Studio Xerxes in Minnesota. Our theme music was brought to you by Bryant Lowry. And a special thanks to my friends at the Association of Retail and Consumer Professionals for their promotion and management. That's it for today. I'm James Jackson signing off, and we will see you on our next episode. Bye.